Hello, I thought I'd take a look at Bitcoin and what's going on and where we go from here, because we're seeing some weakness again, and even though we're very, very overloaded on number of people shorts, a number of short contracts at Bitfinex and BitMEX, we're still trading very heavily. So this might be one of those occasions when the shorts win, at least for a little bit. Plus, we have potential for tax selling in the US, at least until April 17th, while people sell Bitcoin to pay their tax bills for last year. So let's take a look at why I'm looking for a low here in Bitcoin, and if the low doesn't hold, where we go. So first of all, in this correction, the reason that I like this 6650 level is I use 1.618 projections for targets. And so from this corrective swing higher, this ABC correction, this 6650 level was my target. That's where we bounced from. And on the daily, we weren't able to close below this, even though we had that nasty overnight dip to 6,000. We weren't able to close below this 6650 level. Now we've been retesting it, and we've been bouncing off it for 6 days now. 3 times we've been below it, found buyers and bounced. Is today going to be another one of those days where we find buyers and bounce, or are we going to keep going lower? For me, if we close below the 6650 level, then we probably are going lower, and so we need to look at where we go from here and what we do. So as you know, I project from these corrective swings. So if I put my correction on for this swing, this next swing lower, if we close at new lows, then for me, I've got 2 support levels, potentially 5,247, which would be the first extension level at the 113, and then the 1272 at 4425. What I like to do is mark them both and then see what they line up with. So I'm going to look now at the fib retracements from the 2015 low. So big picture in Bitcoin, that's from down here to up here, and see what they line up with, because so far in this pullback, the other corrective levels have worked really well. So let's do that, and we put them on. So you can see that we bounced from the 382 fib perfectly. We bounced from the 50 fib, and that was support perfectly. And this 618 levels are, by the way, are really messy. And this was a 618 level. We bounced from that, and now we're back below it. So the 786 is the next fib level at 4384, so that lines up with our 4,400 extension pretty nicely. So I think there's potential for some support at 5,247 and these prior lows here, but potentially much better support at 4425. What's also interesting about this 4425 level, or 4,300, 4,400, is that becomes a bullish Gartley pattern, which, believe it or not, is a trend. Even though we're down here, is a trend continuation pattern. When you see a bounce from a 618 and then the next stop at the 382, this is a classic Gartley with this 1-2 extension here at 4,300. So if we lose this support, I will leave a resting order to buy Bitcoin at 4,300. It's that good of a kind of pattern. So that's where we go if we see a close below 6650 on the daily or the weekly. I'm by no means am I sure that we will. I still think that there's a good chance, given the bearish sentiment, that we could rally from here. But because we've got another sort of 10 days until the April 17th tax selling deadline, there is, I think, some potential for some more weakness. There's also the potential in stocks. We've had a pretty decent rally the last couple of days in stock indexes, but rallies in a bear market can be really fierce. They can get everybody thinking that, because they're basically short squeezes, and we've got some quite considerable resistance that we could run into today with non-farm payroll and the potential for a third wave lower in stock indexes. And if that happens again, this is a lot of what was behind the some of these moves lower in Bitcoin. I think that that might help us break this support if that happens later today. So that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin. A daily close below 6650 points me to 5,200 and 4,300, and I'm a big time buyer at 4,300. So Bitcoin, if I take the same exercise in Ethereum, I have to say Ethereum's set up to do a little bit better, so outperform Bitcoin. Now in Ethereum, if we look at these same Fibonacci retrace levels, we failed to bounce or get any traction from the 786. But like Bitcoin, each one of these retrace levels has been really good support level. So if we break down from this sideways consolidation in Ethereum, then 340 is a big time support level for me. And if I do the same thing and I put fib, if I project sort of from this most recent correction lower, and I look for the 1272, you can see I'm not making it up. It all lines up here, 341, 340. So that's where 340 is big time major support for Ethereum US dollar if this consolidation breaks to the downside. The thing about Ethereum, if you look at Ethereum Bitcoin is bouncing from really good support. So potentially Ethereum Bitcoin could rally from here. And if we rally from here, in Ethereum US dollar, we have potentially made an inverted head and shoulders pattern, but we would only be bullish if we got back above 419. So 420, 419 is the neckline of an inverted head and shoulders pattern if we don't make a new low below 358. And if we lose 358, our next downside support is at 340. So yes, that's less of a drop than Bitcoin, but that's because the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart is much more bullish. So that's how I'm seeing Ethereum. And just one more I think we'll look at, which is another one that I've been watching for support, is Litecoin. Here's Litecoin US dollar on the daily. I'm going to scroll all the way out, and you can see that we're at a pretty good support level. We're at that 786 pattern. This was a bullish Gartley pattern for Litecoin here, and we hit our target for our first target for the bounce in Litecoin. Reversals at a 786 Fibonacci retracement usually go to a 382. So I'm just going to darken them up so you can see this was our 786. We bounced from the 786, and the 382 was the exit. So if you traded just this Fibonacci swing, that would have been very nice. We had 5 waves up, so I got quite excited that we should see some follow through and at least one more leg higher in Litecoin. But what we might be seeing is a really ugly correction. So for me, this is really important support. If this consolidation in Litecoin breaks lower, we failed at the 200-day moving average. It's all pointing that way. I would be surprised to see a new low, to be honest, in Litecoin. But if we do, we have to look at the possibilities and where are the levels and where are we going to go. And I think that the most important next level is 81, 81.30 in Litecoin US dollar, and then 60. And 60 is like a huge deal. 59.76 is the actual number. And the reason that this is a huge deal, this is the highs. This is the sort of highs from 2013 at 65. So 65 would be my next support level. I'm going to make that really bright orange, I think, so that we can see it when we get there. 65. So that's Litecoin. Again, I'd be very surprised if the support level that we've got that's around 107, 100, that big round number 100 in Litecoin is a big psychological level as well. But if it does break, then 81 and then 65, massive support. Like one of those levels where if everything crashes, you would leave an order there just because it would bounce from there. So that's how I'm seeing Litecoin, Bitcoin and Ethereum. The close today will be really important for me. So I'm going to be watching it closely. The weekly close, by the way, for cryptocurrencies for weekly candles is not Friday night, it's Sunday night before the Asian Open. But I'll update this tomorrow and we'll see where we are. Bye.